what's going on, guys? It's Brian here, and welcome to episode 2 of Football Media. Really quick, I'm going to say this is going to be a bit of a rush video. It's not going to be... It's going to be kind of long, but it's still going to be a bit rushed. But really quick, this is the third time I'm trying this because the audio was corrupted in the video I was trying to do yesterday, and then the first one was not up to par how I wanted it to be. It was really bad. Also, I want to say sorry about the first video. I did not know my fan noise was picking up on the microphone, but as you can see, I have a new microphone right here, so hopefully I checked the audio yesterday before it got corrupted, so I couldn't edit it. It was working fine, it sounded better, and then the fan said he's not as high as it was in the last video. But let's just jump into it. First, I want to talk about the Copa America. Group stage has finalized as of yesterday. All the groups have been played, and there are winners and losers. And let's just jump into the Group A. With the winner of the group was US, and the runner-up was Colombia. Costa Rica finished third in the group, eliminated, and Paraguay finished last in the group, also eliminated from the quarterfinals. US will face the runner-up of the Group B, and Colombia will face the winner of the Group B. So, how it went down last game, the last match for that group, the US won 1-0 against Paraguay, pretty good showing, won their last two games to qualify. And then Colombia surprisingly lost 3-2 against a Costa Rican side that went out to prove themselves. They gave themselves the pride victory that they needed. I was thoroughly surprised they actually won. I was expecting more of a tie or a loss, but good on Costa Rica, very well. I'm kind of saddened that they came in they showed up really late into the tournament where they couldn't do much. It was just a pride victory, but good on them. 3-2 victory, not surprised. Well, I'm thoroughly surprised there was that big of a margin, because it was 3-1, and then Colombia scored the 3-2, and then it finished 3-2. But winner of the group, US, runner-up, Colombia. On to Group B, which I consider to be the controversy group, because the first matchup, not the first matchup, but one of the first games for the group was Ecuador-Brazil, and Ecuador scored a goal that was negated by the referee due to the fact that they supposedly saw the ball go outside of the pitch, and I looked over it a couple times. I never saw it go out, so I was kind of confused every time. I won't lie, when I saw it, I kind of tilted my head and looked at it really confused, why was that out of goal? Because it actually went in. So unless there's an outside that they called, but it was a ball left the pitch call, that it was a goal kick, but I don't know how that one came out. On the other hand, Brazil didn't play a good match, and then they went on to win the other matches. But the winner of the group, surprisingly, was Peru. Runner-up was Ecuador. So with that being said, U.S. will face Ecuador, and Peru will face Colombia in two of the four quarterfinal matchups there will be. But in the very last group stage, Ecuador beat Haiti 4-0. Haiti finished last in the group, and then the surprise came with Brazil losing 1-0 with a very controversial goal. It was a handball by the Peruvian attacker, and it was a clear handball. I don't know why the refs actually said it was a goal, but the refs talked, head ref, the center ref went to talk with the linesman ref. They discussed 2 minutes, but they withstood the goal, and it was a 1-0 victory for Peru. The goal was scored in the 75th minute. Anybody who was wondering when that controversy started, it was a whole thing. All the Brazilian players went against the refs and telling them it was a handball, but it was too late. The refs called it a goal, and that's what happened. It was very controversial, and Brazil was eliminated with that one, so giving the victory to Peru, who won the group. So that's pretty much it on that group. I'm gonna run these. I'm gonna run by these really quick because I have to go out and go to work later today in a couple hours, so I have to do this really quick. So if it sounds really run down really quick and not too much detail, it's because I have to go do some stuff later. But those are the first 2 of 4 quarterfinal matches confirmed, and now onto the Group C. There we go. The Group C, which consisted of Mexico, Uruguay, Jamaica, and Venezuela. Surprise team Venezuela finished second. Mexico won the group, but Mexico didn't win the group too convincingly because Uruguay did not play good soccer. Jamaica could not withstand against Mexico. They never do, sadly. But the surprise team Venezuela was leading in the final match for the group 1-0 until around towards the very end of the match. Tecatito Corona scored the one goal to tie the match 1-1 and kept Mexico's hopes alive to win the group. The game finished 1-1 and they won the group on goal differentials. Mexico had 4 goals in favor for them, while Venezuela had 2 goals. Venezuela went to beat, I believe they beat Jamaica, Uruguay, and then they tied with Mexico. They went unbeaten this whole group stage, as well as did Mexico, but goal differentials gave Mexico the win. Mexico will face the runner-up of the Group D, and Venezuela will face the winner of the Group D matches. So, with that being said, Mexico, a lot of people see Mexico as one of the better sides for this tournament. They are, in my opinion, they are a good side, but a lot of their egos get into the way, and I feel like their egos and ability to want to score the goals themselves will get in the way and will cost them the quarterfinal matches. For those who are wondering why I mentioned sorry about that, but kind of stop right there. For those who wonder about how I think the tournament ended up, my predictions are in the last video. You can go check that out. And the only thing that I will get into right now, what went wrong with my predictions, was that Uruguay and Brazil crashed out of the tournament, and I'll get into that in a bit. But I'll just sum this up really quick with the Group D action, which was Argentina faced Bolivia last night. It was a 3-0 rout. Argentina got the win, and then Chile with Panama ended up 4-2. Panama was winning earlier in the match, but Chile turned around to win it 4-2. So that means Chile will face Mexico in the third quarterfinal matchup, and then Argentina will face Venezuela in the final quarterfinal matchups. For those who are wondering who I see in the final, like I said, you can go check out the next video. But with these quarterfinal matchups, I kind of see it still staying the same how I saw it before. The only difference is that I see this with the first quarterfinal matchup, which is U.S. Ecuador. I see Ecuador passing on to the semifinals. I don't see U.S. having enough strength to go by a very impressive Ecuador squad that I've seen through to the quarterfinals even before the tournament started. I saw them into the quarterfinals, so I kind of think Ecuador is just gonna run by the U.S. And then Colombia, obviously Colombia. They're one of the better stylistic teams there is right now in the tournament, so they're just gonna, even with the little slip up, I think they can come away with a one goal difference win. Not going to be too much of a good win. Peru's been playing very well as of late, so I see them giving Colombia a hard time. But I don't see Peru into the semifinals. Then Mexico, Chile. I see Chile. I still stand by that the final is going to be a rematch of Argentina, Chile, just because of how it's going to happen. Because for those who don't know, it seems like it's about redemption this tournament, because the first matchup for Ecuador Brazil in the Group B, Ecuador's goal should have gone in, but it was not counted. And then karma, in the sense to say, karma came back against Brazil, and they got a goal that was allowed on a handball, which is never. I hardly ever seen that happen. The last time was the supposed hand of God goal from Maradona, which that's really ill name. So either way, that goal. So it's kind of karma, and but Mexico Chile will be played in Santa Clara in the Levi Stadium. So I feel like Chile could redeem themselves, because that's where they lost 2-0 against Argentina. So they can redeem themselves at the stadium they lost their first group matchup and then go on to the final, because I still see this happening. And then for Venezuela, Argentina, I see Argentina through. Same thing as the Peru-Colombia game. I see Venezuela giving Argentina a really hard time, but Argentina's still going to go through. And then if you want to see my I'm going to say this again, if you want to see my semifinal predictions, they will be in the first episode. And the only difference is who's in the semifinals, as I stated right now. But news coming out of the Copa America, 2 head coaches have been fired. Both are from South American squads. Paraguay sacked their head coach, and also Brazil yesterday, right before the Chile-Panama game, sacked their head coach Dunga after 13 games in charge of the squad. He has been sacked after a disastrous Copa America. I feel like it was kind of unfair. He was sacked, but the Brazilian Federation said we had to let him go. So he has been let go, and I don't know. They have a little less than a month and a half for Brazil to get a new head coach because Brazil is hosting the Olympics down in Rio for the soccer tournament that they're going to host. So they're holding the whole Olympics, but they need a new head coach for the soccer part of the Olympics, which I kind of see it's going to be hard. They have to look really quick, and they have to have this coach get in a big see the players that are going to be called up and see what he can do with them, because it's really writing that Brazil didn't win the World Cup at home, so they're writing on winning the Olympics at home. So I believe that is pretty much it for the Copa America. The only other thing I would want to talk about from the Copa America is, let me make sure here. Let me make sure. Give me a second. So I think that's it. What I wanted to talk about the Copa America. So let's just hop right next into the Euros. So right now the Euros are full on in. Right now there was 2 matches, Switzerland, Albania, and then no, that was one of the first matches of the tournament. No, it is Switzerland, Romania, and then France, Albania. Those matches are the first match finalized. I do not know the score. The score will be posted somewhere around here, but the second match is still ongoing right now. But I just really briefly want to talk about the matches because there's not too much that happened. Notable wins: Romania lost 2-1 against France in the opening game of the tournament. Spain won 1-0 with goal from Gerard Piqué. Germany won 2-0. Italy beat Belgium 2-0, very surprisingly, and then Iceland tied 1-1 with Portugal, who had Cristiano Ronaldo on the pitch. Surprisingly, that's very huge for a smaller team who's their first appearance in a major tournament like this. So they went crazy, and it's going to go into something I want to talk about from the Euros right now. But good on them, and I believe that is pretty much the big notable matchups. All the results will be on screen right about now if you are interested, and also I will put a link to the results down in the description below, and also I will put a link down below for the Copa America stuff too. But what I want to touch is there's 2 things I want to touch on when it comes to the Euro right now. What's happened in the first pretty much week of the tournament. First of all, I want to talk about the Iceland-Portugal game. So, for those who don't know, Iceland's the first time that they've appeared in a major tournament like the Euros. So, they tied against Portugal, who have star players who are ranked in the top 10, I believe, of the FIFA rankings, and are one of the favorites to go on to win the Euro this year. So tying against them in the opening matchups for their group is very big, and they went ham. They went crazy when the ref blew the 90th minute whistle saying the game was over. They went crazy. They celebrated. I'm happy for them because that's something that a lot of teams do. Because if you see like smaller teams actually beating the big boys, they go crazy because it's surprising. You don't see them doing that. So I'm glad for them. But Mr. Salty Butts Cristiano Ronaldo came out after the game saying that they celebrated like if they won the Euro or something. That's very small mentality. That's why they'll do nothing. If I'm not mistaken, that's word by word what he said, and I will post it on the screen. Also, I'm very surprised that a player of his level says something like that, especially in a major tournament like the Euro, because that's not what you're supposed to say. You have all eyes on you, and you want to say these things are like very rude to another team. Europe has faced a lot of criticism because all the racism and very harsh remarks against other teams. So that's why if you see the UEFA Champions League, they have a patch that says respect, because they want all the teams to respect each other. They don't want no one else talking less to each other. But I'm not too surprised it came from his mouth, because Cristiano Ronaldo has said he's the best player in the last 20 years, which is a lie. We've had Ronaldinho, Robinho, Xavi, Iniesta, Messi. We've had a lot of good players. Oh, there's also Kaká. There's a lot of better players that played in the last 20 years than just Cristiano Ronaldo. So him saying this is just, it's very, I'm going to go out and just say it's very stupid of him to say that. Like, I'm just a fan and I'm just analyzing like what he's saying, and just like, no, come on now. You're talking about a team that just tied your team. They gave it their all. This is the first time they're actually in this tournament in the history of their football. So it's kind of surprising that he'll talk down on them, but it's not too surprising at the same time because he has the massive ego, and this is just me ranting now. But very, very bad on Cristiano Ronaldo. He's most likely going to get a lot more hate towards him just because of those comments. So I'm not wishing that against him. I wish he retracts his statement and then says it may be taken out of context, which it was not taken out of context. A lot of fans see it a straightforward way he said it, but I hope he apologizes for what he says, or the Portuguese Football Federation makes him. I don't care if they make him. I just want to hear an apology because that was extremely rude to say that to an opposition who put their hearts out 90 minutes on that field to tie against Portugal, who has Nani, Pepe, Cristiano Ronaldo, Contra. They have a lot of their stars are coming to this Euro, so it's kind of very just come on now, man, for them to do that. And that being said, we have another incident that happened in one of the other matchups, which is the other thing I want to talk about. The second thing I'm going to talk about today, it is the Russia-England game. It was a 1-1 draw, but what happened in the game is not what's important. The game was good. The game's important also, but what happened between the Russian fans and the England fans is what I really want to talk about right now. So, what happened was there was use of racial slurs, use of fireworks, and crowd disturbances by both the Russian and the English fans, which caused huge drama because France, for those who don't know, are still recovering from the attacks in Paris. I still think about that, and my prayers go out to the people who are affected by that. I still think that France is still trying to heal from that, but with the fans doing that, that's really huge misbehavior. I don't understand why they thought it'd be just because they're not in their home turf and they're at a different country and they think it would be a good idea to do that. I think that was a very bad call on the fans to do that. For those who don't see European games, the fans stay seated for almost the whole game. You may see like per section maybe 5 to 7 people going up and down the stairs to go get their snacks or something. But you never see like big bunches going up and down. So it's kind of surprising that happened, that there was such disturbances and it was just a 1-1 draw. But that happened. Both teams were hammered down with warnings. The English FA went hard on their fans. They told them strictly to behave. And they acknowledge that there are fans who do behave, but then there are fans who don't behave. And sadly, the fans that do behave have been affected due to the fans that did not want to behave at a match. So, but that's what happened to England, and then Russia was hit way harder because they were hit with the $150,000, not 150,000 euros fine from the UEFA, and then said if they have one more incident that the Russian fans cause a disturbance or any kind, Russia will be disqualified from the tournament. But also the same thing goes for England. If their fans do another incident, they will be also disqualified. So both teams are ready on their last legs. They are hoping that their fans don't do anything dumb. I will say that now, because as a fan, I can celebrate here at the confines of my own home and go nuts and go crazy and celebrate. But once I'm at a stadium, I have to understand I'm in the public's eye. So if I do anything dumb, I can have police or security crack down on me for misbehaving. And I don't understand why those fans thought it would be a good idea to actually do that, because it was not a brilliant idea, because officers and security cracked down the last 2 days after the day of the match, and the day after they were cracking down hard on finding those fans who did this misbehavior. And then sadly both teams were hit hard. Mostly Russia got hit hard, especially with the fine and a conditional disqualification, but they're still in the tournament. If they get another incident like this, they will be disqualified. And that worries me because Russia is to host the next World Cup in 2 years. So what can we actually expect from fans of Russia, or even European fans that have their teams qualified? Because I know there hasn't been any incident other than that one, but you never know. There's always that incident that could happen, because I believe, yes, there was the match, one of the last matches for this year's Premier League, Barclays Premier League in England. That it was the last match for West Ham United at their old stadium. They are moving to a new stadium this season, and they were facing Manchester United. So Manchester United were going down to the stadium on time, but they were delayed for almost 45 minutes because West Ham United fans decided to throw bottles at the Manchester United bus, and also towards the security and officers that were escorting the team to the stadium. So they were delayed 45 minutes, and then the Manchester United had way less time to warm up, and I kind of don't understand why they did that, but fans were hit hard. Those fans were hit hard with West Ham United coming out and saying that they were going to ban those fans for life because that was very uncalled for, which I find fine. But fans need to understand that they need to calm down. They don't have to. I know you have a huge passion for your teams. I do it for my own teams, but you don't have to go that crazy and then just ruin everybody else's time just because you want to go crazy and do your idiotic things. Sorry for the word, but it's very true, because a lot fans who misbehave are doing idiotic things, and it ends up costing other fans the joy of a football match. I can give my experience from the Argentina-Chile match that I went to in Levi Stadium. It was amazing. Like, all the fans, we weren't behaving. We were chanting. We were all everything. But that's fine. But once you go into using slurs and all that kind of stuff, crowd disturbances, violence, and all that, that's when the match is just killed, and then there's no joy in it anymore. You just kind of just sit and watch the match because you know every fan's just got, you know, your team's gonna get hit, and then you're gonna be in trouble. All the fans are gonna take the hit because of your decision to make a very bad action. So that's just my opinion on that. Those are the news that are going on with the Euro. So I think, let me check something. Let me check at the time. I think that might be it for today. If I have time, I will do a transfer. No, that's not it for today. Give me a quick second. I'll get the transfer news up next, and we'll do this. Really quick to talk about the transfer is more of the notable ones. Pep Guardiola is looking to sign former Barcelona keeper and former Manchester United keeper Victor Valdés to the team, to his new team, Manchester City. It looks like Edison Cavani is prepared to make a 4-year extension at Paris Saint-Germain for, I believe it was 8 million euros a year annually, so good on him. It looks like Zlatan Ibrahimovic will go to Manchester United. He signed a provisional contract a couple days ago and will go under his physicals, his medicals once the Euros are over, or most likely he'll go do that after Sweden's Euro is over, and he'll go head out to do that. And also, Jorge Sampaoli looks like he is going to sign a contract to Sevilla. Good on him. Jorge Sampaoli is a great coach. For those who don't know who he is, look up some of Chile's game. He was an ex-Chile coach. Pretty good. He's a good coach, and it will be amazing. Alvaro Morata and Paul Pogba are possibly en route back to Real Madrid. Well, Alvaro Morata is in possibility. Also, Paul Pogba. I say that because Juventus and Real Madrid